All right, welcome to the Let It Fly show. I am Michael Severe, joined by Josh Jones, of course, Creighton and Omaha Central fame. What's happening, man?
Man, Thursday, bro?
Yeah, we tape on a Thursday night.
Yeah, it's raining outside.
Yeah.
The day's slow motion, but it's a good day. It's bright lights in here at Let It Fly, man.
That's a nap kind of day.
Yeah.
When it's about 3:30 and it just gets cloudy.
Right.
And it's kind of dark outside. You're like, you know what? I could just take me a nap.
It's like no matter what goes on in the day, it's almost like I'm hypnotized. When I hear that rain drop and see that weather get groggy, bro,
I know how that is,
to that.
Let It Fly Sports Bar, of course, in the Capital District, whether it's raining or it's sunshiny, open and ready for you to come in and check out a unique sports bar. Just experience, right?
Yeah,
it's
sure.
upscale, the food's great, all the TVs and stuff. And of course, our show is brought to you by Bud Light. No matter where you are, you're here in the sports bar, you're at the new location, very soon to be seen out west of Let It Fly Sports Bar, or you're in your garage, wherever else. Brings you easy drinking and easy buckets throughout Nebraska. Easy to drink and easy to enjoy. This week's guest, national play-by-play guy, my former partner on the radio, calls everything. It's called everything. Kevin Kugler will join us. He will join us on the show to go over random stuff, just absolute random stuff.
So was he as did you always know? You know, some people get in certain spotlights, and if you know him personally, you can reflect like, I knew he had it.
Was always one of the hardest working people I knew. I watched him prep for games. This is when he was doing UNO Maverick football.
Word.
I watched him prep for games, and he was always precise.
Dang.
Did all his homework, did everything. Even when we did a show together, he had this sheet where he would take like little notes or little topics that we would hit on.
Yep.
And then if we didn't get to it, he would cut it out and then tape it onto the sheet the next day.
Put a pin in it.
Exactly. And he did that all the time. And so, no, he taught me a lot in terms of preparation and how to get ready for stuff. And I wasn't shocked at all that he ended up where he ended up.
Respect.
So no doubt at all. Happening this weekend at the sports bar, I can't tell you, because tonight, Game 5 happens of the Western Conference playoffs.
Yeah.
If Minnesota wins, then we get a Game 6 on Saturday. If not, we're waiting all the way till June 6th for the finals.
Now, as we talk about that, there's been some talk about the best duo backcourt guards of all time.
Okay.
Is this? I mean, the game has evolved. So, like,
can I say first of all that Luka's not a 2? No, he's 6. He's like 6'8". He's not a 2. He was okay. If we're gonna compare him with other people,
he's
a 3. If we're gonna compare him to other backcourt duos, there's never been a backcourt duo where your 2 is 6'8". Is there? I mean, Magic was a 1 at 6'9".
Well, he was point forward. So maybe he.
Who does he guard on the other end? He don't guard a 2. There's no way.
Sometimes. Ball screens, he switched,
Well, I mean,
so he's a bigger 2.
He's a big, fat 2.
He's a bigger, I agree. Yeah, I think he could,
so like a Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas, you can't compare them to Kyrie.
Oh, he'll play the 3 for sure.
You can't compare them to Kyrie and Luka, right? I mean, that's what the old school. That's what the old school was like. You had a 6'1" point, and you had a 6'2" 2. Yeah. And those guys were great and won world championships. You can't compare them.
6'7".
Yeah,
he's bigger than Luka.
And the thing is, Clay didn't play 2 a lot of times. A lot of times he played a 3. He was a swing guy. He was a 3
shooter.
Yeah.
So I guess he can play.
It's hard.
3,
yeah.
I mean,
in terms of, you're talking about just simple the 1-2 like Shaq, Kobe.
No.
That kind of thing.
No,
just backcourt. Okay, all right.
Jordan and Pippen is better than him.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah, that's why as we start going down the list.
I think like
if they win a title,
like modern day.
Yeah.
Like what other? I can't think of 2 other guards in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
That like. Pick your poison.
Sure.
And it's like the same results.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember we had to talk about the face of the NBA.
Yep.
And I tried to talk about, we were trying to dive into the successors or the predecessors.
Yeah, and I was talking people under
but
25 under.
Kyrie ain't like he hasn't like, he's not in the over the hill gang yet. Like, he's literally like, from all he's went through into where he's at now, winning changes everything.
He needs to avoid saying something stupid, but My thing was always not his play. It was the other stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want to be the face of the NBA, you do have to have a certain level of acceptance across the board.
Only person that is an exception to that rule is Charles Barkley. Because he on record says, I don't care about being a real man.
I will say that was late in his career, right? When he got to Philly, in 86, 87, whatever the year that was, when he got to Philly, he was just a big, fat, happy dude.
For sure.
You know, and even when he was throwing small people through windows and he was getting in trouble drinking, he was still kind of like, oh, that's just Charles. He's funny, you know, he's Charles. But he's right in that way. I mean, honestly, your kid's role model is you and your wife. Yep. You don't have to have somebody famous for that person. You can look up and aspire to be great, but he's obviously the role model.
Thin line,
yeah.
But I guess my point is, I've never seen a duo like them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's hard to beat.
It is. It's really hard because you don't have how many guys are like Luka.
Yeah.
I mean, he can back you down. Right. He can shoot the three. He's got a great fade. He got a Dirk fadeaway.
Right.
And he can handle okay. He rebounds.
Right.
And he's bigger than he looks because he is, you know. Yeah. I mean, and then Kyrie is the greatest finisher at the rim since, I'd probably say, the old Isaiah Thomas, who could finish. Isaiah Thomas finished at the rim among the big guys as well as anybody you'll ever see. Okay. Now, on the other hand, Kyrie can do it with both hands. Yeah. He shot a left-handed shot the other night.
He's probably the greatest handler, too.
He's got an incredible handle. He's got an incredible handle. Yep.
For sure.
So, the way they're playing right now, and again, we're taping on a Thursday. By the time you hear this, the game's already happened. Yeah. Maybe Minnesota wins. Right. And I wouldn't be surprised. They go back to Minneapolis, they win. Sure. Then it goes to a game. Remember last year?
I know.
Boston Celtics down 3-0 to the Heat, came all the way back and made 3-3. Yeah. So it's certainly a possibility. Yeah. But that might happen this weekend. Not a lot. Everything else is like baseball. Your final weekend of UFL football, if you want to check that out as well.
I'm locked into the league right now. The storylines are crazy. Yeah. The Celtics are boring, but if they don't do it this year, you got to trade somebody.
Well, I know this. If Porzingis, and they say he's healthy, they say he's ready to go. Right. Now, I got a bad calf right now, okay? Right. I'm 55 soon to be. I got a bad calf.
You know how you feel?
It is hard to come back from a calf. Yeah. You know, it's hard to get healthy. Now, they say he's healthy. If Porzingis is healthy, I think they're the best team.
Yeah, you're right.
If he's healthy. If he is marginal, 75% or whatever, then I think either Minnesota or Dallas can beat him. And that's what I'm hoping for because I hate the Celtics.
They both got to get at least 30 to 40.
Yeah, they go 65 to 70, right, combined.
No doubt.
And our meal this week, a classic Reuben. We are only, we're at 11th. We're only 14 blocks away from where the Reuben sandwich allegedly was created. Blackstone Hotel, just right down the street, is where it was created. They had a poker game. Yep. They brought a bunch of meat out. There's one guy named Reuben decided I'm going to take a little sauerkraut. I'm going to take me a little bit of mustard. I'm going to put it on rye bread with some corned beef and cheese. Reuben sandwich is created. Man. It just came back to Let It Fly Sports Bar.
I just loved when St. Patrick's Day hit.
Oh, yeah.
Because I get that
corned beef and cabbage? Yeah. This is certified Angus corned beef brisket, Reuben sauce, which is like a Thousand Island, caraway sauerkraut, Gruyere cheese, and Russian rye bread. $18 with the fries. It's a big sandwich. It's a thick sandwich.
Yeah, Paul,
it's a thick sandwich.
Everything here is big enough portions to either have leftovers or split it with a group.
Right. I tell you right now though, Meg wants this sandwich so bad
that she took a bite out of it. She took a bite out of it.
There's that little bit of Meg bite right there.
Yeah, right.
Headlines, John Cook gets a new contract, an extension, Nebraska volleyball coach. I thought the interesting part was, though, is that among the things he's getting is a horse. Okay, so his deal runs through January 31st of 2029. Mm-hmm. Annual salary $825,000, right? He's going to get a annual raise. Yep. But they also were talking about a retention bonus, and he's like, "Well, look, I don't want it to be a regular retention bonus." He said the horse is called number 415. It was born and bred in the famous Pitzer Ranch in Erickson, and is a once-in-a-lifetime performance horse. He was purchased as a weanling by Mark Ray and then trained by the Ray family. Troy Dannon loved the idea, and while they couldn't specifically write it into the contract, the retention bonus will be used for number 415. He's getting a horse out of the deal.
Kentucky Derby.
He's a rancher, you know.
Kentucky Derby.
I don't know. I wonder. I don't know. He says it's a performance horse. So I don't think that's a race horse.
Equestrian.
I think so. I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. Maybe he'll be in the Olympics.
Yeah, that's
certainly a possibility. Of course, too, we didn't have a chance to talk about this last week, but the Big Ten announces their full slate of Friday games, including Nebraska playing in Lincoln against Illinois. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts on the Big Ten and college ball playing on Friday night, traditionally saved for high school?
Well, I got a son. And he's 5, and I just fathom him playing Friday nights. I remember when I played Friday nights, there was a time in Omaha, Nebraska when Friday high school basketball, high school sports was a thing to do.
Yeah, sure.
Sold out, get there about 5:15, fire marshal, that type of stuff.
Yeah. Girls first, boys next.
You got, I don't know, football top teams now, like you can have the West Side game or what other teams
Yeah, Bellevue West, West Side, Gretna's continually to be good. Millard South, Elkhorn South.
So you got these rivalries, you got these top games.
Yep.
Imagine if you was one of those type of fans. I'm not even going to go as far as saying like your kid, but imagine you are a diehard high school sports fan.
Yep.
But you love the Huskers.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
You got to make a decision. It's different now than when we were growing up, when I was growing up, because I couldn't have a phone in my hand to watch the game.
For sure.
I would tape it, right? I'd put the VCR in there. I would tape the game. Hopefully no one would talk about it. You get home and you'd watch it.
Yep.
It makes it really difficult. Like, so first thing I did when I saw the date, I immediately went to our Omaha Central schedule, and they're on the road, so my kid won't be in the band at home. So I was like, well, I won't be. But that night, I would have been at Bellevue West Side. There's no doubt I'd have been there. You also have Millard South and Millard North playing that night, which is a huge rivalry in Millard. You know, 2 of the 3 schools there in Millard. So
I guess business don't stop for nobody.
No, it doesn't.
Now, maybe you do trial and error this year. You get the feedback from NSAA. There got to be some type of post-season meeting, and from there, I think something that can help improvise it is a 5:30 varsity football game, and then maybe move JV to like Saturday morning or something like that.
So the problem is that the NSAA schedule is always going to come out before the college football schedule. It always is.
That's tough.
It's just the way it's set up. They got to get that out early.
I feel it.
Remember, we're limited and look, you're blessed in Lincoln and Omaha to have a bunch of fields, but not as many as other places. So, Siemens got to have 3 games a weekend or whatever. You have to play a lot of games at the same stadium. There's just no wiggle room.
It's not.
And so it sucks.
This is tough, bro.
It sucks. And then here's the hard thing. Lincoln, games on Saturday, games at 2:30. People get down there 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, start tailgating, they're spending their money, blah, blah, blah. They go to the game. Maybe if they win, after the game, they go out.
Yep.
Friday, you're at work.
Yep.
You leave work early to get down there. You're probably not tailgating much.
Nope.
You go to the game. It's Friday. Maybe you stay out later and spend money.
Oh, man,
Lincoln, the city of Lincoln is not going to make as much money as it makes on a Saturday game.
All over a TV contract. So they'll probably make the money back up, but like the tradition is gone, bro.
You would always have Friday night's always going to be good for a restaurant.
For sure.
So that doesn't help. But the problem is that what you lose before, and so we'll see what ends up happening. But
we'll see.
in the end, I would rather it not happen. I would rather it not happen.
Personally.
Last thing, our third headline. So the draft's all set. Everybody decide who's going to stay and not stay.
Right.
I wanted to go over the players that at least Nebraska-based that could get drafted. Right. We're going to start off with our friend Baylor Shireman, who I've seen mocked from 17 all the way through the 38 in the second round.
So mid to late first round.
Yeah. So the last ranking I saw for him was 38th.
Okay. And that's before.
And that's before people pulled out of the draft. And then before that, it was 27.
Okay.
And so there's a possibility he could be a top 20 guy now that you have 10 guys going back, including Hunter Salas, who made himself eligible for the draft.
Yeah.
Just saw all the mock drafts had him in the middle second round. The average I saw him for was 41.
Yeah. And the thing about it is about availability.
Yeah.
You got to say politics, but you also got to say things that you can go back and develop.
He definitely can.
Like Kugler.
Yep.
I think Hunter. Well, first of all, Baylor.
Yep.
He's somebody that all year I've been big on about his toughness, how he's always on the floor because he does everything.
Yep.
He rebounds, he defends, he can guard the 4.
Yep.
He can handle the 1. He can shoot it. Mm-hmm. So him staying on the floor, I just didn't know about his athleticism, but maybe he does something so well and plays so hard that you can get something out.
Well, how long has McDermott played now? And what is his job in most teams?
I mean, he's a team defender and a sharpshooter.
Sharpshooter. And that's what he needs to do.
So that's I can see that for Baylor.
Yeah.
Trey Alexander.
Oh, the third one. Yeah. So the first Hunter, surprised that he went back or no?
I'm not surprised he went back.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like he was going to test the waters with a high chance of staying because of how great of a season he had.
Yep, and he's got a chance to improve that with Wake.
That he still need room for improvement.
Yep.
Personally.
So it makes sense. Goes back to Wake. And by the way, that team's going to be loaded.
Yeah.
They are loaded next year for Wake, so maybe he can make a run in the tournament too.
My challenge to you, Hunter, is first team all ACC.
There you go.
That's my challenge.
There you go. There you go. And then you mentioned Trey Alexander, who up until this point has not been in many mock drafts, not first or second round. But I mentioned to you, all those guys who are going back to college, that takes people out of the draft.
There's a deadline,
maybe he's got a shot.
Did you have a deadline?
Deadline was yesterday. Well, when we're taping this, it was Wednesday.
So he stayed.
He stayed in the draft, yes. He stayed in the draft, but because those other guys went back, maybe he moves into the draft because no one was mocking him in the second round.
For sure.
So
my thing is this: when it comes to Creighton basketball players entering the draft, unless you're a Justin Patton, could be a now a Baylor Shireman, a Doug McDermott, it's cool to get drafted, but we want you to have a legitimate NBA career.
Yeah.
Not touch the NBA, go to the G League, and then you never touch the NBA again. That's what my thing is with the Creighton players. And I know sometimes you got to go while you hot, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like I would love to see these kids just play until they're like.
You think Trey should have come back?
Yeah, I think so.
He should have stayed and exhausted his eligibility.
Only way I disagree with my own statement is if he goes high enough to a position where it's guaranteed with a great deal, and you know that like he can play himself into a way where he's a commodity of an investment, and he won't. I think he's talented enough to hold it down.
Yeah.
I think about Zagorowski. I think about
Alexander, the other Alexander.
Tyshawn. You feel me?
Yep,
like,
Tyshawn.
I think about
and then
them.
Taz.
And
he stayed all the way.
And the thing with the thing with Taz, like I thought was cool, where he actually had a true legitimate shot. I remember the Houston Rockets had so lesser players, we could have played for him.
Yeah, he was, and his defense was a good defense.
Yeah. But then again, how many more 6'5", 6'6" Kyrie Thomases are there?
Yeah.
The NBA is obviously hard to make. I just want. It's cool that the Creighton players can get there, but I want them to stay there.
No, I understand.
So,
completely.
Trey, go high as possible,
Yeah.
I hope. If not, then I'm like, he could have stayed.
Yeah, I certainly hope he gets drafted, and now it looks like there's a better chance. He was ranked at about 62 to 65 by most of the rankings.
But with people pulling out,
then maybe it puts him into the second round.
Yeah, because respectfully, I think that he was a little more polished than Hunter Salas, just because of his repetition and experience playing with Coach
But
Mack.
the end of his season, the way Trey played in that last game, the last chance you had a chance to watch him.
Game, I just feel like all throughout the season,
ups and downs,
defensively, I think like he could have guarded a lot better.
Yeah.
But then there were certain, like towards that tournament, like you were saying, it was exposing some of the things about himself.
Was not good.
Was Arthur Kaluma on the board?
He went back. Arthur went back.
My man.
He went back to school. He went back to school. I believe he is going to help me out. Where's he going?
Oh, he
I saw it.
Where?
Oh, I saw it. It was in Virginia.
Let me double check.
Yeah,
let us know.
I remember that he definitely is going back. I saw the name of the school, but it's going out of my head.
Yeah.
But I mean, good for him. I mean, he's another guy. There's a lot of guys like him.
Yeah.
6'7", 6'8", who can run, maybe make a decent shot. Not a great 3-point shooter, not a great handler of the ball. There's a lot of guys like him.
Yeah, I mean Derrick Jones Jr.
Not special.
Derrick Jones Jr. is like him, but skinnier, way more athletic.
Yeah, definitely, no doubt about that. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like it's hard to make the league. It actually was fun to watch to see who would stay, who would go. I wonder where Trey gonna end up. Now I just
best luck to him, and hopefully now they're guaranteeing those contracts now in the second round. They weren't doing that before, so maybe he gets that. Coming up next, our guest Kevin Kugler, broadcaster to the Stars, the voice of a generation here on Let It Fly Show.
On a Sunday. Gotta go. I forgot the sausage. You guys ready to eat? There you go. On a Sunday.
All right, welcome back to Let It Fly Show. Our guest this week, NFL on Fox, does UFL games, does radio, he does MLB, does everything. If he's got a microphone, he's on the air.
Including now.
Kevin Kugler joining us here on Let It Fly Show. How you doing?
I'm fine. It's really good to be on the show with the both of you.
He didn't mention basketball.
No, I do basketball. I don't know why he's not mentioning it.
And also on the BTN, on the BTN as well.
And the Fox.
And the Fox.
And,
will you do any TBT?
I don't think so.
2025, we're going to talk about it.
Okay, all right. Is there going to be
on Fox?
Is there going to be a Creighton? Is the Creighton team coming back? All right.
We can talk about that.
Who's going to be on the Creighton team now?
Let's talk about that.
Oh, come on. Let's break some news on this show.
I think you tried to recruit Joey Hauser a couple weeks ago.
Congratulations to Baylor Shireman, who will be on the new Jays team in the TBT, just broken here on the Let It Fly show.
We talked about this earlier. Baylor's got a good shot to be a first-round pick.
Man,
and so
listen, bro.
Good luck to him.
To me, I watched him all year. I always felt like he had the dog. But I just didn't know if he can equate to that high pro level talent. Mm-hmm. But really, man, it's just about consistency on shooting.
He had a great combine, man.
Know?
Great combine.
Tremendous
combine.
combine.
18 to 26.
Yeah,
he could shoot. He can rebound. He's got clearly he doesn't ever leave the floor. I mean,
he doesn't get tired.
Yeah.
This is kind of out of your radius a little bit, isn't it? You've been down here before.
It's way out of my radius. Not since there was a basketball game down here. I mean, since the NCAA, literally, I haven't been downtown other than going to the airport since the NCAA tournament.
Have you been inside the sports bar?
I have been inside Let It Fly, yes. When I knew you weren't here, I stopped by.
That's when you stopped by.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense to me. I completely understand that.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a restaurant question because you travel so much and you go out to eat so much.
Oh.
Biggest difference since COVID? I mean, besides prices, obviously it's going up, but besides that, what's been the biggest difference for you since COVID in going out to eat?
The quality of Chipotle has gone way down over the last few years.
Wow.
I mean,
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, when you go, I mean,
we are not a sponsor.
Well, that's fine, and you probably because I'm bashing them, so it's a good thing.
I know, yeah.
But the quality's gone way down. They really need to ramp that up. I mean, that's
an inside thing going on here.
No, it's not an inside thing.
Okay,
I'm just saying we eat a lot of Chipotle on Saturday nights on the road. It's one of the things that's
one of your main things.
Laura Oakman is a big fan of Chipotle, and probably should have a Chipotle black card.
Yeah.
And I'm pitching that now, even though I've said their quality's gone way down. And so on Saturday nights after meetings, we usually grab Chipotle.
Yeah.
And it's just the quality's gone way down.
The good news is
it's usually a steak bowl. Yeah.
Oh, that's solid.
Yeah. It's one of those things that I don't want to get too out of my comfort zone the night before a game, food-wise. And you don't want to eat a ton.
Like Michael Jordan, you don't want to eat the whole pizza.
I don't need the flu game, because I'm not going to thrive like Jordan. I'm just going to go out and lay a giant egg. So
here's the thing that drives me crazy the most, and it doesn't happen here.
What's that?
But they stop putting condiments on the table.
Oh, yeah, it's
like salt and pepper and all that stuff. They stopped putting it. Well, I like having salt and pepper. I like having crushed red pepper. I like having my ketchup.
Here's the other thing that I hate, and some have stopped doing this, but some do. I'm so tired of relying on the QR code to get my menu. Like, just give me a piece of paper or a laminated menu. We all know that nothing's getting transmitted on a piece of paper. It's okay.
We learned that.
It's like with you, it's like you should start a tweet series where it's things that pet peeves while you're on the road.
Oh, yeah.
You got to start that.
He does that already.
Here's the thing I've learned. I have learned that nobody cares about your travel issues, because I used to do that. I'm like, I'm an airline, blah, blah, blah. And then I would get people going, you're going to do games. And so I stopped. For years, I could be hung from my ankles at an airport by an angry flight attendant, and I'm not tweeting about it, because somebody's going to be like, well, you deserved to be hung from your feet.
I want to go back for a second. Is there a Chipotle black card?
There is. The rumor is there's a black card that basically gets you all Chipotle for life.
Wow.
Well, the good news is Val, myself, and Josh already have our black cards.
Yeah, that's not the same thing.
Not the same thing. Trying to set that up. Okay,
No.
He said it's not safe.
Not the same thing. No.
Not the same thing.
No.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because we're not getting free Chipotle.
You're not getting free Chipotle.
The weird thing,
neither am I.
My family, and I don't get to go with this a lot of times. They go to the other place. They go to Qdoba all the time. They always go there.
I used to be a Qdoba fan.
And you switched
to the queso. And then Chipotle got that queso.
Yep.
So I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to be a Qdoba guy because when we did a radio show, they paid me to be a Qdoba guy.
That is true.
Now nobody's paying me, so it's like she likes Chipotle, so I'm a good teammate. So off we go.
Let's talk about what you're doing now at UFL. Kind of just talk about what you like about it. Because it's much different, obviously, than doing games on Sunday on Fox.
It is.
NFL games.
But here's a couple of things I really like about it. I love the transparency of the UFL. Yep. You hear all of the play calls. You hear the communication between quarterback and coach, between quarterback and line. You hear when a quarterback's correcting one of his guys on the field, like, no, you're over there, watch this. All of these things. I love that. I love the transparency when it comes to officiating decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's really something the NFL could adopt, is when they go to the replay room, it's being piped into the stadium. So you hear Mike Pereira or Dean Blandino going through that whole thing. And the other thing I love is the Super Challenge. Yeah. I think the Super Challenge is fascinating. For those that don't know, in the UFL, every coach gets a challenge, and you can challenge literally any single thing on the field. So if there's something, a big play happens against your team, and you think there's a hold, you have them go look at the hold, and they can actually assess the penalty and bring that back. Or the strategery that gets involved into this is perhaps something happened that didn't go, like your guy threw a pick. Yeah. And you can have them go look to see if maybe somebody false started on your team, have a penalty assessed on your team, and then it never happened. I think there's a real market for that at the NFL level too. And the NFL could bring in somebody who is the designated Super Challenge person. They're pouring over all that stuff, and they're hitting the red Staples button going Super Challenge.
We talked about UFL, NFL, maybe a week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
My question is, there's no like affiliation. It's not like a G League of the NFL.
No, correct.
So my thing is, if they take things from the UFL, why not just is it possible to ever merge, in your opinion, just being a fan? Or
is it cost effective?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it is. Maybe it is at some point down the road. I think there is a definite market, and I think we've seen that for a spring football league. We love football as a society. The United States of America is a football culture. We love football. And the more football you can put on, the better. And we've seen it in the ratings, which is the first step. The ratings indicate this is something that's been a big success this year. Now it's just a matter of continuing to grow. And I think there's an avenue for another professional sports opportunity outside of the NFL from a football world. Man. And I think we're seeing that with the UFL. Look at what, from a local standpoint, look what Adrian Martinez has been able to do with his opportunity this year. You have a guy who's all of a sudden now resurrected his image as a football player with one great season. Look what it's done for a guy like Jake Bates, the kicker for the Michigan Panthers.
That's an incredible story.
The minute this season is over is going to have his name called to be at some camp somewhere.
He's the one that never kicked before. Right?
He was a kickoff specialist, had never kicked. Gets up, lines up for his first kick, a game winner in the opening game from 64 yards. St. Louis's Anthony Beck, the head coach, calls timeout. He kicks it, it goes through. Comes back out, has to do it again after being iced, and bangs it into the net from 64. Wow. It would have been good from maybe 75 yards. He's banging from 70 in practice. This is a guy that's going to get a look, especially with the new kickoff rules this year in the NFL.
I can't wait for him.
I mean, you're talking about returns are going to be a huge. I saw the Chiefs are experimenting with Justin Reed doing the kickoffs so that you don't have a kicker out there to make a tackle because it's going to be such an it's fascinating.
Now, if you kick it in the end zone, though, you go to the 30.
Correct, yes.
So there is a little bit of risk reward. You don't want to necessarily kick it in the end zone and just give up the 30.
Correct.
So you're going to try to put it around the 5 goal line.
But the goal is about entertainment.
Definitely. Right? It's going to be more entertaining.
So from a color analyst standpoint, what is more fun? I know NFL is elite, ultimate, but what's more fun to call? Is it the UFL or NFL? The modified rules with some of the perks versus just.
Well, I mean, the NFL is the cream of the crop. I mean, it is. It's the gold standard by which every other league and every other sport is judged in the United States of America. Right. So that's in a stratosphere all of its own. The NFL it stands alone, and look, it doesn't diminish any of the other sports that I call. I love calling Major League Baseball. I love calling the UFL. I love doing all this stuff. Right. But there is just something. The NFL is a behemoth. It is a monster. It is the gold standard when it comes to sports in America.
Yeah, I don't think. So I was telling him that they tried to do NFL Europe. Obviously in NFL, they lost $40 million. They had a conversation back when the old UFL was out. I just don't think they want to take on that kind of burden economically. Plus, you got to remember, all those players, if they take them over, you got to pay their insurance. You got to pay workman's comp. You got to pay all that. It's like taking on a whole new business. I don't know if they'd want to do that. But as a minor league, if somehow you could figure out somebody else to pay all that stuff, maybe it's possible. But it's a lot of money.
All I know is that this first year of the combined XFL, USFL, the UFL, has been a remarkable success from the standpoint of convincing people to watch it. And that's the first step. You've got to draw interest in this to prove that it's something that can last long term. And Michael Mulvihill, who is the Fox Sports, for lack of a better word, guru of ratings, he's got a fancy title, but he tweeted out the other day the breakdown of average ratings for the UFL as compared to other spring sports. And it's right there with the NHL. It's right there with, I mean, it is.
That's crazy.
It's in the same category as everything else that's going on in the spring outside of the NBA playoffs.
Sure.
You can't compare the NBA playoffs. You can't compare the prime time MLB game of the week.
Right.
But you can compare what else is on a Saturday afternoon, and it's right in that conversation.
I watch. I watch, and I was watching. I don't think you were calling this one, but who's the head coach of Birmingham?
Skip Holtz.
Skip Holtz is yelling at Adrian Martinez, just throw the slant. Just throw the slant. And he's like, no, quit looking at me like that. Throw the slant, right? Next play, they get down there. He throws the slant. It goes for a touchdown. You're like, hey, coach knows what he's talking about.
I will say this. If some Power 5 school wants to bring in somebody as an offensive coordinator, you could do a lot worse than Skip Holtz.
Yeah.
Skip Holtz was a very good college coach, has been an outstanding professional coach at the UFL level. And you know, obviously he's got a good lineage. His dad was a long-time football coach in Lou Holtz. So he's a veteran coach that if you brought him into a Power 5 school and ran the offense at the very least, that offense would be better.
That's crazy.
So I kind of consider you the Dos Equis man of broadcasting. You know?
Most interesting man in the world.
You got it. Right?
You really need to get out more.
You got it. No.
The most interesting man in broadcasting.
I mean, you watch so many sports. You cover all the sports that I definitely watch myself. Like, it's not about like how did you get into it. It's like how did you stick?
Hard work, man.
There's a lot of people like
the hardest work to do.
You
that
gotta
now.
have some type of journeyman story. You gotta have something. You know, like how did you know?
Well, I grinded for a lot of years on a sports talk show in Omaha, Nebraska, with a questionable co-host for the last 7 years or so.
I was his crutch.
Yeah, he was my crutch. No, I mean, look, it is everybody's path is a different path. Everybody's story is a different story. Mine was not a story of immediate success or splash. I mean, I started out working in a small town, and then I worked minor league sports, and then I didn't have a job, and then I got a sports talk show, and I did Division II sports, and then I just kind of meandered my way from there and eventually got an opportunity to go to a so-called larger level decade and a half into the business. I mean, it's you know, and again,
people had to die for you to get elevated.
People literally died
for you to get elevated.
People did not live, and I got a chance because of that. And someday someone will get a chance because I'll be dead. So, I mean, good luck.
I'm not trying to laugh.
That's true. Kevin Kugler joining us on the Let It Fly show. I want to switch over to the NFL for a second. Yep. Did you call during the regular season Kansas City and San Francisco games?
Yes.
Did you, at the time you were calling them, think they were Super Bowl bound teams?
We had San Francisco, I want to say weeks 2 and 3 of the season.
So early,
okay. So early. Okay. When I left San Francisco the first week, and then I saw them again the next week, I remember coming back and saying to somebody, probably my wife Michelle, who would not have cared either way, but I say it to her because I have no friends. And so she was like, "How was the game?" I said, "I'm telling you right now, San Francisco has the best roster in the National Football League." And I firmly believed that all the way to the Super Bowl. I thought from a roster depth standpoint, at key positions, they had playmakers at every level of their defense. They had, obviously, you know, what was Brock Purdy? We were just starting to see at that point, but he was healthy again, and he looked fine. They had McCaffrey healthy. I mean, they had so much stuff that you couldn't walk away from them and go, "Oh, I don't know, they're average." No, they were really, really good. Yeah. And again, Kansas City reminded me last year of a team that was just sort of experimenting through the regular season. We'll do enough to get into the playoffs. We're going to see what happens.
Did you have them on their downturn when they had that stretch of like 3 games where they had played all those games in a row?
No, I had them early on a radio game and then late. So, but it was, I mean, and by the time I had them late, they were starting to ramp it up into form.
Because they had the Raiders game and they had played something like 3 games in 14 days or something crazy like that.
It was nuts.
And they were worn out, and then they kind of got back going again.
Yeah, they were. You knew as long as Patrick Mahomes stayed healthy, that team was going to be right there at the end. Maybe not Super Bowl champs, because there was a point in the season where you really had to question whether they would be a Super Bowl champion team. But as long as he's there and healthy, and as long as Andy Reid is there doing his thing, they're going to be. They're right there in the conversation. Now, I do think the AFC has some real interesting storylines this year.
Sure.
And not to be the homer guy, but one of them is the team I do preseason football for, the Houston Texans. They're
loaded.
And the league is all in on Houston based on what we saw from the schedule.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they keep signing more wide receivers, more talent.
The talent that it's clear that their general manager, Nick Caserio, and that ownership has said, we're going all in.
Yep.
We're going all in on C.J. Stroud. We're going all in on this
contract,
team. And they're loaded. I mean, they're going to be a fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm kind of excited for preseason because they're going to be a fun story to tell this August. Yeah.
What's your take on Lamar Jackson? I think
Lamar Jackson's outstanding.
But he got to a point and he didn't get to where
he's struggling in the playoff game.
Struggling in the playoff game. Yep.
Do you feel like his story starts from there, or does he have to start over?
I think anybody's story at the quarterback position starts, middle, end is the playoffs. That's to me how a lot of quarterbacks through the years have been defined. People put always asterisks next to Dan Marino. Even though Dan Marino is probably the most gifted arm that's ever played in the NFL.
Yeah.
But nobody, they look at it and go, well, what did Dan Marino do? What did he do from zero Super Bowls? And you automatically put him a little bit lower in your mind because of that. Not saying that's right or wrong, but that's just how things have gone. And I think that every quarterback, rightly or wrongly, is in some ways defined by his postseason success. Now, the flip side of that is, Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl? Yeah, he did. That doesn't make Trent Dilfer a great quarterback. Right. Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls. Do I think Eli Manning is the greatest quarterback? No, I don't. No. I think he's a really, really good quarterback. No. Right. But I do think that for Lamar Jackson, look what it's done for Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes' career has been defined by his postseason success.
Yeah, they just had, when we walked in here earlier, there was a headline on one of those chit-chat shows where they were talking about Aaron Rodgers can't be GOAT status because he's only got 1 Super Bowl. I'm like, I get he has 1 Super Bowl, but in terms of, you just mentioned Dan Marino, the second best maybe in terms of our talent is probably Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know that there's ever been anybody who combined the arm talent with the mechanics that Aaron Rodgers has.
And he was mobile.
He was mobile. Mm-hmm. He was, his mechanics are what you would put in a book, like, here's the mechanics of a quarterback.
Do this.
And then you'd show what Aaron Rodgers did in his prime and has done through most of his career.
Is it fair to say he's a better quarterback than Tom Brady?
No. He's a better physical specimen than Tom Brady, most likely.
He's a better athlete.
He's a better athlete. That's probably the better way to put it.
Athlete.
But again, Tom Brady won everywhere he went. Tom Brady went, and what really solidified Tom Brady's career was what he did in Tampa. I mean, when you go down there and you're like, and now I'm going to win a Super Bowl here.
Right.
No, they built around him, but still.
I just hear people always talk about Aaron Rodgers, the way he plays, the way that, like, he's kind of like a no-nonsense type quarterback. It's like, hey, do your job. And he just focuses on himself.
Yep.
But it's
he doesn't always listen to his coaches either.
Yeah, but like the way that I hear people talk about him is almost like they would rather take him, like, not over a Tom Brady, but like you really not losing nothing if you get him instead of a Tom Brady.
You say, okay, so you're saying you put Aaron Rodgers on those Patriot teams with that head coach.
Yeah.
Does he win as many Super Bowls? And I don't know.
I don't either. I don't know. I think that's a fascinating question because it's not like Tom ever had great wide receiver talent. I had Randy Moss, and they didn't win. And they didn't win in the year he was there.
50 touchdown passes.
So, I mean, you look at what Tom Brady had, and people have dismissed for some reason the last couple of years because of the downturn in New England, Bill Belichick's impact.
Yeah, his defensive.
But it's the combination of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick that was golden. And would that combination have been as good, Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you got to listen.
Yeah.
You got to listen. You necessarily listen.
Yeah, I understand.
Let's switch over to Nebraska football. Yep. So you've seen a lot of coaches come and go over the last 25 years. Matt Rhule, if nothing else, when you ask him a question, you know he's thought about the answer. Yep. He's thought about it before you even thought about the question, right? What about him so far through a year has you thinking maybe this is the guy? Or maybe not. It's up to you.
He is the best PR football coach that Nebraska has ever had. Yeah. Ever. Mm-hmm. And that includes Bob Devaney, Tom Osborne, just go down the list.
Salesman of the program.
Yeah, there's nobody that's better. But other than winning, he's done every single thing right. He's reached out to the state. He's gone border to border. Right. He's involved the high schools. Right. He's done it all. He's done everything that everybody always thought you needed to do. Plus, he's a great representative of the program. Right. He's a great representative of the university. Mm-hmm. And I think he has really risen to the public face of the University of Nebraska in a very quick way.
Yeah,
all that said,
I respect that.
You gotta win.
Gotta win.
I mean, you have to win. They have to go to a bowl game this year.
So is that your metric?
That's the lowest.
I just got Kool-Aid on my.
You just got to get to a bowl game.
That's the bare That's the bare minimum.
Okay.
But how many times have you said that about Nebraska? That's the bare minimum.
Since 2016, every year.
Yeah, every year. But I really do believe he's improved the talent in the program.
Yeah.
We'll see if it's enough with the improved league that they're in.
I was about to say that. They got this West Coast style offense coming. Like, it's almost like,
man, there's 18 teams.
Crazy.
18.
So how
you finish ninth.
Right.
Is that good enough? Ninth? That's halfway. That's the middle.
And it probably will take you 8 overall wins to get to that 9 spot.
Man.
Which this year, 5 years
with
from
this
now,
schedule, yeah.
5 years from now, maybe not. But this year, if you said to most Nebraska fans, hey, 8-4.
Yeah. Oh.
And you're on your way to, I don't know, name a bowl. The Alamo Bowl, the Outback Bowl, the Gator Bowl again. Yeah. I mean, I think people would say, all right, I'll take that.
Yeah. They'd buy it right now.
Yeah, they would buy it. And I don't think it matters. Some people, well, what about this win or that win? 8. If you got to 8, who cares who they're against?
If it was 2016 all over again, where you start off 7-0, you lose a tough game in Wisconsin, you get blown up by Ohio State, you go slowly down the end. 9-4, I believe, was the final record that year. I'd take 9-4.
I got a question for both of you guys. So we got new teams that's coming to the Big Ten. Who's going to make the biggest instant impact? And what does it shake up as far as like what it used to be to what it could be now in the order of like the top-heavy teams?
I think it's Oregon.
I was going to say the same thing.
Oregon is a Big Ten team.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They already are a Big Ten team.
I think Oregon followed behind by USC only because of the cachet and the drama that USC always brings wherever they go. But I think Oregon, you and I rarely agree, but I do agree about that. That's the first, when you asked that question, that's the first team I thought, was like, oh, Oregon. I mean, that to me, far and away is they're gonna fit perfectly into this league, like they've been in here for 20 years.
Man,
yeah. We talked about this earlier in our first segment before you came on. Friday night games, full slate for the Big Ten. I know you didn't do a whole lot of high school sports, but I go to the home games to my kids in the band. I'll go see Westside, Bellevue West play. This year, to have those games on Friday night, what are your thoughts on? And I don't think you ever thought, I never thought a home game in Lincoln on a Friday night, I never thought that would happen. No. We're going to get that at 7 o'clock against Illinois.
I think that's, and I think the athletic director, Troy Dannon, said it perfectly. That's sort of, and I'm paraphrasing now, so sorry, Mr. Dannon. That's the price you pay. I mean, you want to have this revenue from these TV deals. The thing that TV is going to try to do is maximize as many revenue streams as they can. Well, you can go down to advertisers with an entirely new package to sell. Right. Friday night college football. And you sell a package of those games, which is an entirely new revenue stream for your network. And the schools eventually, Ohio State and Michigan are going to have to get on board with it. They're not going to have a choice. They're going to have to get on board with it because all for one and one for all. That's the Big Ten. No doubt. You've got to get on board with that. This is just, if you want to remain one of the 2 driving forces of college athletics, and that's what the Big Ten is along with the SEC, then you're going to have to do stuff like this to satisfy the TV partners who are going to continue to provide you the money you need to grow your programs.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if they have mediocrity or lose still, like the culture that, I mean, because sometimes teams lose, like Colorado suck, bro, but I was tuned in every week. Val, you too?
Then we talked about that earlier.
I mean, I was
locked in. You guys tune in for Prime. You tune in for Prime.
But that's what I'm saying.
You tune in for Prime.
Like what? Like aside from him being, I'll never use the word sideshow, but I mean, he's really entertaining. His team is really intriguing to watch because the build up of social media and all of that. I know the Huskers are a different culture, but let's say with what you explained about the TV deals and the Friday and things like that, let's say it's the same. The record's the same.
4-8 again?
Yeah,
I don't think anybody's going to be happy no matter when they play if they're 4-8. I mean, they could play at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday, and they're going to be like, this is no good. This is not. Yeah. So I don't love the Friday night thing because I do value, from a personal standpoint, I value the high school games. I mean, we went.
That's real.
Yeah, we went to those games as parents. We went as fans. Look, when the summer of COVID.
Yeah.
When the high schools started up, most of them outside of OPS.
Yeah.
We were there. We were at the game. I got a pass. I reached out to the NSA and said, I'm an unemployed broadcaster at this point. I would like to go to these games. They're like, here's a pass. So I went and watched high school football to scratch that itch.
Cass be dancing?
Yeah, Cass was dancing. She was on the dance squad.
Yeah.
But it was what you did.
Right.
And,
no doubt.
and I don't love the idea of infringing upon that because it is going to impact it. It's going to, and I mean, I hate that Friday night for those coaches and players
here.
You're
probably knock it to 5:30. Watch.
Yeah. The thing is, all the schedule is already set.
Right.
Really? People were so they set the schedule last month.
Oh.
And they said, NSA, we're not moving anything.
Right.
Wow.
We're just going to go with it. And remember, that night, Bellevue West plays West Side that night.
That's a huge
That's a
game.
huge
Three
game.
games in Lincoln.
That's probably the biggest game.
It's the biggest game of the year, probably.
And you can't necessarily move everything because you don't have the officials.
Nope.
You don't have
You
the
have the stadiums.
stadium.
Right about
that.
You just don't.
Stadiums,
You don't have the infrastructure
right.
to be able to do. So there are going to be games played on Friday night while the Huskers are playing.
Right.
And I hate that for those players and those coaches and those officials and those parents.
No
doubt. Yep.
Because look, if my kid's playing in a high school football game, I'm not staying home watching Nebraska.
No, sir.
I'm watching my kid
You
play.
got the phone on your lap.
I don't even know if I'm doing that because I'm engaged in that kid out there on the field. Yeah.
Kevin Kugler joining us.
Yeah.
You have taught, I'd say, many young former athletes become broadcasters as color guys. You've taken guys that are brand new and moved them along to being very good at it. What do you tell Tom Brady? What do you tell him to make it work?
If I sat down with him, I would tell him to be honest. Honesty is what people want to see. If you're really done playing, and I don't think this will be a problem for him because I do think he'll do this. If you're really done playing, though, you can't be afraid to be critical. And you see that so many times from athletes because, look, if you went and did a Creighton game, and Mac did something ridiculous, and he would never, never do that,
Best
ever.
coach in America.
But if by some reason he got hit in the head earlier in that day and did something wacky, you'd have to be comfortable saying, I don't understand why in the world he ran out on the.
All right, make you feel good.
Yeah,
I'll be going in.
You gotta do that.
I'll be going in.
And you'd have to, and I think that's what, and I really do think Tom Brady is going to do that because. And you can do that without going, he's a moron, he's dumb. You do it in a way that says, I'm the greatest quarterback that ever played the game. You can't question my credentials.
Sure.
You cannot harm me. I'm the juggernaut.
I'm the juggernaut.
Respect. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
He hit him with his own pimp.
Yeah, for sure.
So when the UFL championship is, are you done? You have one more game
One more UFL game this weekend, and then baseball.
Then you have
and
the
jury
World
duty.
Series.
Very excited about that. Yeah.
So wait, everybody I talked to recently has had their jury duty pulled right a couple days before. I had it happen to me just about a month ago.
Well, see, here's the thing. I got called for jury duty right as COVID started.
Oh, way back then.
And I was all fired up. I'm like, I have no income. This is great. I'm going to make some money. And then, of course, they didn't have trials at that point because of all the germs. And so I didn't get that money. But then 4 years later, here I am getting it again. So I was immediately like, oh, how can I get called again? This is ridiculous. And so now, I'm crossing my fingers.
Have you already done your registration?
Oh, yeah.
Wait and see a couple days before. They got me, mine was Monday, and on Friday, they sent me the thing saying, don't worry about it.
I have 3 baseball games that week, so I'm really, otherwise I'm going all in on the fact that my wife's an attorney.
Yeah. That's true. So you have the College World Series, you do the championship, and then vacation?
Then vacation, and then it's football again. I mean, it's I've got UFL ends for me Sunday, and then I've got baseball in June, little vacation, and then
August.
Then it's August.
Preseason.
August 9th, I'm in Pittsburgh. Steelers,
What's
Texans.
something that you haven't covered that you like? That's a dream for you to cover.
Boy, I don't
done everything.
I've kind of done it all.
He even did boxing.
I've done boxing.
I never knew that.
Yeah, see,
I knew about everything else.
The famous Friday Night Fights show on True TV that's no longer with us, RIP True TV, and Friday Night Fights.
Right.
But I got to work with Ray Mancini. And
Boom Boom.
And I got to work with...
he's done the Olympics, too.
Wow.
Russia
and
Beijing.
Brazil.
Brazil.
But I'm not doing the Olympics this summer.
So Paris is going to be... I'm not a big Summer Olympics guy, but that's got to be cool.
You're not?
You're going to. I never have been.
Really?
I want to see the guy run whoever the fastest 100 is.
There's no football.
They're not playing.
Yeah.
By the way, they are.
Yeah.
Hold on. They're playing flag football.
Yeah,
they're
they are.
going to play flag football. I will watch some flag football. But as for all the rest of the stuff, but in Paris, that just the setting is just.
Oh no, it's
unique,
very cool.
You know?
It's very cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it in LA because that should help. The traffic should be great. I mean, that should be terrific. I was just there this week, and I went 5 miles in an hour and a half.
I've been there.
Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's gonna be horrible. That's gonna be so bad.
Yep.
Last thing, Nebraska basketball.
Yes.
I know that you have followed him most of your life. You're a dreamer. Like most Nebraska, eventually you know what's going to happen. Did you get sucked in this year thinking that maybe that A&M game would be the first win?
I didn't like the matchup when it came out, but I thought the team was good enough to get that first win.
Yeah.
I just didn't love that matchup. It was A&M, if they get hot from 3, is a really good basketball team. They got hot from 3 in the first half, and that was it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, what Fred Hoiberg has done to remake this entire program midstream from what it was when he took it over initially to what he thought it was going to be, and then had to basically retool while the car was in motion.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
They've gotten better every year.
They've gotten better every year over the last 3 years. They're a program now that has an identity, and I don't know that they necessarily had one of those the first couple of years. It was just a lot of dudes showing up. They were like,
I'm going to run in the gun.
I'm going to run to the basket.
There you go.
Defend? Nope, not defending. No, run to the basket.
Exactly.
And you could see that. And that's a hard way to play in the Big Ten.
I kind of consider their style like, I think they play hard and they're scrappy, and they take a lot of quick shots.
Yeah.
It's my style of basketball, to be honest. I mean, that's why I'm a fan of it. Is I like how he doesn't like go to. I mean, he got his core guys, but he played the next man up.
Yeah,
and
he did a lot 2 years ago.
Any given night, anybody can go off.
I'm fascinated to see the impact of the rink mast injury and not being. I think that's. I know nobody's talking about it right now because it's May. But he's used his posts in such an integral way as passers at the top of the key. And I don't know who fills that. I don't know who fills that void because it's so tough. You're bringing the other team's 5 out to the top, and you're able. To, those guys have been able to distribute. Mast had the ability to shoot from there as well, so that's a big loss. I hope there's somebody there that can either fill that void or that they can figure out a way to work around that void.
I worry about the lack of athleticism. They even got less than they had last year, and they weren't good enough. Last thing, what do I have to look forward to in 3 years being an empty nester?
Oh, it's fantastic.
That's the best part of being an empty nester.
I love you girls. You're great. You're great. We're big fans of you both. But no, it's outstanding. You know, you get into this rhythm that's completely different from the rhythm you have when you have kids around that have to go here, do that, and you're worrying about, when are they going to get home? What are they going to be like when they get home? What are they going to? How do I have to tiptoe around because they want to sleep till 10?
I'm in that phase. 5 and 4 months.
Oh yeah. You got such a long road.
I'm just listening.
You can't even see.
I'm not fathoming what you're saying.
You can't even see the street signs that say end of road ahead. They're down so far down the road. It's remarkable, and that's the goal, right? I mean, as a parent, the goal is to raise children to then make them leave.
Yes.
I want the children to go away. I want them to come back.
Yeah.
I want to see them.
Right.
I want to hug them. I want to tell them how great they're doing, and then I want them to go again and go live their lives
until they bring you some grandkids.
And that's a long. I'm hoping that I'm not sure that who gets to the end of the road first, Josh or me, as far as the end of that road when the grandkids show up. I'm hoping that his kids are delivering them at the hospital.
Okay, all right, that makes sense as well. Kevin Kugler, broadcast everything. We appreciate you taking the time, man.
No, this has been fun. I appreciate you having me here at the Let It Fly show. This is a lot of fun.
You want some food?
This is great food here.
Would you like some food?
I always enjoy food.
We can get you some food.
I know you can.
We're going to make that happen.
Yeah, you can make things happen because the food here is great.
Thanks, Kugler. Appreciate it.
Good to see you.
All right, thanks to Kevin Kugler for joining us and being our guest. We covered a lot. Covered a lot.
And he covers a lot.
He covers a lot, exactly. I've watched him do boxing and obviously done a lot of football over the years, as you mentioned, the BTN, Batch and basketball, doing the radio for a long time, which is my favorite. I know he loves doing TV. It's better money in TV. But I've always liked him, listening to him do radio. He's very good at doing radio. There's a line between over-describing what's happening and under-describing.
For radio?
And he gets it right in the middle to where he's not over-describing everything like a Kevin Harlan does, who's annoying as hell on the radio.
You don't like Kevin Harlan?
Not on the radio. On the radio, he's
I've never heard him on the radio.
Outside the numbers and caught it mid-screen. I'm like, what are you talking about? Just tell me who caught the damn ball.
Yeah, he caught it mid-screen.
Drives me nuts. He's like, mid-body. Well, whatever. I'm not a fan of his. But we want to thank Kevin Kugler. We appreciate that. Sure. Not sure who next week is, but I'm sure we'll have a great guest. Yep. We do want to thank everyone that helps make this show possible. King Val Elvis, who is going to be gone for a few weeks. He's going to be out. We appreciate him being here. I don't know what we're going to do without him. I have no idea.
Either.
I do not. Of course, Phil McLean, our executive producer as well. Mac is going to cut this whole thing up. So we'll be able to put out some clips before the show drops on a Friday. And, of course, Meg, who came in, took some pictures, took a bite of the sandwich as well. She's our social media maven as well. And a special thanks, of course, always to Bud Light for everything they do for us, for the sponsorship, bringing you easy drinking and easy buckets and touchdowns coming up soon throughout Nebraska. Easy to drink and easy to enjoy. And I want to remind you, when you download the YouTube or you watch us on whatever or you listen on the subscribe. Yeah. No matter what the podcast platform is. If it's on YouTube, like and subscribe. We appreciate that. And leave a comment if you want to. Ask Josh a question.
Yeah, I'll answer back.
He'll ask a question back. No doubt about that. All right, Josh, take us away.
Hey, Josh Jones here with my boy Michael Severe. You know how we do it. It's a Let It Fly show.